What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Talk Sports with Jake. Hope I'm doing well. So let's talk about the MLB standings first before we get to some other stuff. Obviously, got a lot of football to talk about today. American League East, we are winding down, and the MLB season only have about another 3 or so weeks of the regular season. Toronto still in first place. They're hanging in there. They're 2 games ahead of the Red Sox. Of the Yankees, and 3 games ahead of the Red Sox. So a very tight race in the American League East. Yankees are playing some good baseball. Toronto and Boston kind of hanging in there. Rays, who lost their last few, but have been playing good baseball lately, have gotten themselves back into the wild card race. Baltimore's out of it. Detroit leads Cleveland by 8.5 games in the American League Central. Aren't playing great baseball right now, but still 20 games over 500. They've already clinched a winning season. They're 20 games over 500. 8.5 game lead. And I believe they only have 18 games left, so they should be wrapping up that division sooner rather than later, obviously. American League West remains tight. Houston leads Seattle by 2 games. Texas, all of a sudden, is only 3.5 games out of that division. They've been playing really well. Seattle and Houston are struggling a bit. So that's a tight race in the American League West as well. Philadelphia leads the Mets by 8 games. That's a really tough loss last night for the Mets to the Phillies, losing 1-0. Noel McLean, his fifth ever start. Another good start for him. A run over 5 in the third for him. But that ninth inning was really sloppy. Alonso with the leadoff hit. You pinch run right Mauricio for him, and then Gandalf hits a double. It's a terrible rate. The ball was clearly going to get down. You stop. How you stop and yelling? Bad base running by Mauricio. He should have scored on that. If you pinch run a guy for Pete Alonso, he's got to score from first on the double. I'm sorry. And then McNeil, you got to get a ball in the air, and he doesn't even put the bat on the ball. And Alvarez had one of the worst at-bats that I've ever seen, chasing 3 sliders that were maybe in the upper batter's box. And he's looked lost because he came back from the IL. The guy who was finally gotten red hot before he got hurt again. It's a shame. And the Mets bats have struggled the last 4 games, and division appears to be out of reach because now they are struggling again, and they are falling 8 games out of the division. So that sweep with the Phillies about 2 weeks ago, which got them to what, 5 games out or 4 games out? Means nothing because they've lost all the rounds that they made up already. And then those are the 2 teams that were still in that division. National League Central, Milwaukee's leading the Cubs 7.5 games. Cubs have cooled off. They've started to make the division interesting, but Brewers starting to kind of run away with it. They have the best record in baseball right now. 89 and 56. They have had the best record in baseball for a while. Reds hanging in there. They took 2 out of 3 from the Mets this past week. Keep themselves in the race. Cardinals will keep themselves in the race as well. And the National League West remains really tight. Dodgers, Rockets gave them some fits a couple games ago. They take a no-hitter into the ninth. Rockies break it up, end up coming back and win the game. And then Tamara Scott gave up a no-hitter again last night. Dodgers end up, in the ninth. They're just doing hang on to win, but they have been struggling. Only a game ahead San Diego, who's also been struggling for a while, just won their previous 3. But they're still only a game out. And the Giants have been playing really good baseball. They've all of a sudden gotten hot in September, and they're right there in the wild card race. Even Arizona's been playing well. They're not done yet either. And the Rockies, they are 40-104. They already have 104 losses as September 9th. They are 64 games under 500. 36 games out of the spot. They're definitely already eliminated from playoff contention. 36 games out. I have to click on the wild card standings portion of this database. Simple math. They have 18 games left, and they are 36 games at the playoff spot. It's very, very simple. In the wild card race in the American League, first wild card spot is the Yankees. They are a game ahead of Boston. South last team in right now, 3.5 games behind Boston for the second spot. Texas is a game and a half out. They're also 3.5 games out of their division. Cleveland's 2.5 games out. They've won 4 in a row. Kansas City is 3 games out. Tampa's got themselves to 4.5 games out in the American League wild card race. In the National League, first wild card is the Cubs. Second wild card is San Diego. They are 2 games behind the Cubs for the first wild card spot. Mets are still the last team in. Remember when they tied the Padres? Again, they lost all the ground. Struggling. This is a very inconsistent Mets team. It's honestly infuriating to watch. They're now 3 games out of a second wild card spot. Giants have gotten to within 3 games of the Mets. Reds are 4 games out. Again, the Mets had a chance to absolutely kill the Reds, just to put them away, and you didn't do it. You went in what? You went in up 5 games. If you won 2, you could have put them 6 games out. That would have made things very difficult. You sweep them, you put them 7 games out. That pretty much kills them. But you lose 2 of 3. You keep them within 4 games. You have the Giants also bring down your neck. Arizona's gotten to within 4.5, and as has the St. Louis Cardinals. So we appear to be in for a very exciting finish to the MLB regular season. Before we move on, I just want to say rest in peace to Davey Johnson, a Hall of Fame MLB manager. He managed the New York Mets to their last World Series championship back in 1986. Also played in the league for a while, played for the Orioles in the 60s and 70s, and amongst other teams. He finished up his managerial career in baseball with the Nationals, just at this point, pushing 15 years ago. He managed USA in the Olympics as well as the World Baseball Classic. One of the great managers and baseball people in the history of the game, and he unfortunately passed away this past weekend. So rest in peace to Davey Johnson. Bunch of NFL extensions that broke over the weekend as week 1 got underway. Bucks extend corner Zion McCollum, 3 years, $48 million, $60 million a year. That's a lot of money for him. He did have a very good year last year. Pusher was a full-time starter going into the year. 82 tackles, had 2 interceptions, 17 pass defenses, 2 forced fumbles, a fumble recovery. He did have a very good year. Him and Jamal Dean become one of the better young corner duos in the league. 16 million seems a little steep for him, but he is only 25 years old, or actually he's in his age 26 season, so he's still young. Was really good last year. Bucks have been trying to lock some guys down. Obviously, you have Baker Mayfield on the contract that he's on. You already re-signed Mike Evans last year. You have Gallup on his deal. You locked up your right tackle Godicke about a week prior, and now you extend one of your corners in Zion McCollum, 3 years, $48 million. They realize this division sucks. We're going to own this division until further notice, until either Atlanta can somehow figure something out, like a panic or something else crazy happens in that division. They're going to own that division. They're going to cakewalk in the division. Here, let's keep as many key pieces as we can, which is not a bad strategy. Steelers finally come to an agreement with Cameron Hayward, their longtime D tackle. They gave him a contract adjustment. He'll make up to $18 million this year. He's been around a long time. There might be a case that got to make the Hall of Fame because this is year 15 for him, age 36 season. He was first team All-Pro last year for the 4th time in his career. He was a Pro Bowler for the I think the 7th time last year. Last year had 71 tackles, 8 sacks, and 11 pass defenses at age 35. He finished Storekeeper Defensive Player of the Year voting, was top 10 and Comeback Player of the year before he missed 6 games of injuries. He's a great player. Been with the Steelers since his rookie year in 2011. He's one of the best defensive tackles in the league. And again, when it's all said and done, especially since he has a Super Bowl, I believe, did he win a championship with them? Maybe he missed. He might have not been on that team. I forget, but he's had a fantastic career. 88.5 sacks going into this season from a defensive tackle spot is very, very good. So Cameron Hayward comes to a contract agreement with the Pittsburgh Steelers. I thought his whole contract situation was ridiculous. He said, like, oh, even when I saw my deal last year, I told him, I'm going to come back to the table. It's like, dude, you're 36 years old. You've been playing for 15 years. The Steelers had this crazy offseason with trading DK Metcalf and giving him a whole bunch of money. You trade George Pickens, the Aaron Rodgers thing, the Jalen Ramsey trade right before the season. They don't need this headache, okay? You're 36. You signed your deal last year. Play or retire. But they came to an agreement. Lions extend Jameson Williams 3 years, $83 million with $67 million guaranteed. Last year, obviously mostly healthy. Had a very good year. 58 catches, just over 1,000 yards, and 7 touchdowns, average over 17 yards per catch. He was the comeback player of the year candidate last year as well. From a first-round pick in 2022 out of Alabama. He tore this ACL very late in the college football season. I think in his last playoff game that he played right before he got drafted. So he only played 6 games his rookie year, only had the 1 catch, and then 2 years ago, he had the gambling suspension and had some more injuries, so he kind of never really got off the ground. But last year, finally stayed healthy, ended up having a really good season. And with him only signed through next year, assuming he pick up a 5th-year option, they decided to lock him up long term. Like trying to keep as many pieces again, like the Bucks trying to keep as many pieces in town as they can. They gotta compete with that brutal division that is the NFC North. The 49ers make a couple of moves. They extend alpha tackle Colton McKivitz, 3 years, 45 million with 27 million yards guaranteed. I think it's a really good contract for both sides. He's turned into a very good right tackle. He was hurt a lot last year, and the line really suffered. His backup, who started in his place and actually played well, Jalen Moore, down with the Chiefs. So they're going to need McKivitz, I think, with Trent Williams, aging, coming off an injury. They lock him down. So one of the better right tackles in the league. And they just lock him down on a 3-year extension. They also signed Kendrick Bourne, someone who started his career with the 49ers and been with the Patriots the last 4 years, was cut, did not make the roster. Patriots made you signed Stephon Diggs in the offseason, draft Kyle Williams in the 3rd round. You have a bunch of younger guys that you draft the last couple of years, like Jalen Polk, Javon Baker, Sean Boutte. So there was just no room for him. He's been very injury-prone pretty much his whole career, but he's only played 21 games in the last 2 years. His best year of his career was his first year in New England in 2021, when he had 55 catches for 800 yards and 5 scores. He's been productive when he's been healthy. Like in 8 games 2 years ago, he had 37 for 406 and 4 scores. Last year in 12 games, 28 catches, 305 yards and a touchdown. So he's getting a little older. He's going to be 30, but a guy who started his career with the Niners when he's healthy, he's been a very dependable 3rd receiver. I saw him a year for $5 million. Ayuk's still coming back from the ACL. He's not back yet. I think Ricky Pearsall. Obviously, you have incident he had last year, which calls him to miss time. That George Kittle already hurt. McCaffrey's obviously always an injury risk. So not a bad idea to have as much depth as you can, especially if you trade away Deebo Samuel in the offseason. So Kendrick Bourne returns to the San Francisco 49ers. College football recap. It was week 2 for college football. Number 1 Ohio State just thrashes Grambling 70-0. Not much of a surprise there. The quarterback, Sayan, the new quarterback this year, 18 of 19 for 306 and 4 touchdowns. Number 2 Penn State beats Florida International FIU, 34-0. Drew Allen, 19 of 33 for 200 yards and 2 touchdowns. And number 3 LSU beats Louisiana Tech, 23-7. Garrett Nussmeier, 26 of 41 for 237 yards and a touchdown. LSU is really good this year. They are very good. Number 4 Georgia beats Austin Peay, 28-6. Connor Stockton, 26 of 34 for 227 yards. Number 5 Miami gets past Bethune-Cookman easily, 45-3. Carson back, 22 of 24 for 267 yards, 2 touchdowns. He plays very well. Number 6 Oregon demolishes Oklahoma State, 69-3. I did not think it would be that much of a thrashing. I thought they'd beat Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State is not a great team. Oregon is very good. But wow, I don't think they win by 66. They were up 41-3 at the half. Crazy. Dante Moore, 16 of 21 for 206 yards and 3 touchdowns. Number 7 Texas beats San Jose State, 38-7. They get their first win of the year. Arch Manning plays better. Obviously, go from playing the top team in the country to freaking San Jose State. 19 of 30 for 295 and 4 touchdowns. Number 8 Clemson beats Troy, 27-16. They had some troubles when they were down 16-3 at the half, but come back and win. Clemson looks a little rough so far. You lose to LSU. You talked a lot of crap for a team that lost in week 1, and you had some trouble with Troy. So Clemson, they appear to be on the ropes so far early on. They came in ranked 4th, ranked 8th going into the week. I'll get to the AP top 25 where I'm done saying all these scores. On number 10, South Carolina beats South Carolina State, 38-10. Lenora Sarah, 11 of 19 for 128 and a touchdown. Potential Heisman candidate, Lenora Sarah, South Carolina's quarterback. Number 11, Illinois gets past Duke, 45-19. We had an upset. Mississippi State beats number 12 Arizona State, 24-20. This isn't an enormous upset. It seems like it kind of is. Arizona State did win the Big 12 last year, but remember, you lose Cam Skadden, who's probably your best player. They're probably going to regress. I didn't think they'll win the Big 12 again. Mississippi State beats them in an upset. South Florida beats number 13 Florida, 18-16. So South Florida 2 straight upsets over Boise State and Florida back-to-back weeks. They're off to a good start. Florida, man, just every year we're like, oh, they might be turning the corner, and then they fall flat on their face. Billy Napier, he's got to go. That guy, he's not a good coach. I honestly think the athletic director knows if Napier gets fired, he'll also get fired. That's why he's not pulling the trigger. But man, Florida, they were once such a proud program. When they had Urban Meyer. The 2008 team had a lot of characters on it for sure, obviously, but was an amazing team. Just that's not what they are anymore. Have not been in a long time. Number 14, Florida State demolishes East Texas A&M 77-3. Again, I knew this would be a lopsided game. I've never heard of East Texas A&M. Florida State, I mean, they're Florida State if nothing else. But wow, 77-3, and they beat Alabama in week 1 to Florida State. Maybe the DJ Youngblade was just that bad. Because the year before they had them, they were undefeated and they almost made the college football playoff. If you argue they should have, in the last year the 4-team won when they won the ACC like that without much of an issue. They get to DJU. They go 2-10, one of the worst teams in the country, or an embarrassment. He leaves, and all of a sudden you beat Alabama, and then you win by 74 the following week. You're already ranked 14th in the country. Might be top 10 now. We'll see what the rankings say. Wow, they look like a different team. Number 18, Oklahoma beats number 15, Michigan, 24-13 in an upset. Like a small upset. I picked that one. Wasn't that much from the upset, 18 to get to 15. Now, Michigan, they got a true freshman quarterback in Bryce Underwood, so I think we do need to temper expectations a little bit. I don't think it's like a sure they're going to win 10, 11 games, be in the college football playoff. I mean, look, they can't be 5-7 again, whatever they were last year. But I think they'll be closer to 8-4 than 10-2. Say that. And the 16 Iowa State beats Iowa 16-13. Your typical Iowa game, low scoring like that, but Iowa State pulls it out. Baylor upsets number 17 SMU in double overtime with a thriller, 48-45. Number 19 A&M beats Utah State 44-22. Number 20 Ole Miss gets past Kentucky 30-23. But what I thought would be a close game. Kentucky teams tends to keep games close in the SEC because of how much they run the ball, but almost gets it done. Number 21 Alabama gets their first one of the year, getting past Elo Monroe with ease, 73-0. Ty Simpson 17 of 17, who's perfect, for 226 and 3 touchdowns. Number 22 Tennessee against East Tennessee State 72-17. Number 23 Indiana beats Kansas State 56-9. Number 24 Texas Tech beats Kent State 62-14. And number 25 Utah beats Cal Poly 63-9. So that's the college football slate. Let's go to the top 25 AP rankings heading into week 3 for college football. You hear the first 12. Ohio State's at 1. Penn State's at 2. LSU is at 3. Oregon's at 4. They sneak up to 4. Miami's at 5. Georgia actually drops down to 6. Texas coming to 7. Notre Dame's at 8. Illinois at 9. Florida State surges up into the top 10 at number 10. South Carolina's at 11. Clemson, their rocky win after a loss. They continue to fall. They're down to 12. Oklahoma up to 13th. Iowa State at 14. Tennessee surges up to 15th. A&M surges up to 16th. Up to 17th. USF remains at 18th in the country. Alabama is at 19. Utah surges up to 20th. Texas Tech's at 21st. Indiana's at 22nd. Michigan falls in the rankings all the way down to 23rd. And the last two remain Auburn at 24 and Missouri at 25. Those two teams do not believe ranked the following, so they enter the rankings. Auburn beat Ball State 42-3. Last week they're 2-0, and Missouri beat Kansas 42-31. So those two teams are 2-0 in the SEC, and they sneak into the top 25. All right, NFL Week 1. Let's talk about it. Thursday Night Football. I think I went over this game. I forgot if I did a show last Friday, but Eagles beat the Cowboys 24-20. Close game. Dak Prescott 21-34 for 198. He was just kind of okay. For Philadelphia, I think there's definitely some things to work on. A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith only had 24 yards combined. They got to get those two guys involved more. Their secondary struggled. Acuna Mitchell, their top corner, had a tough night. He had a bit of a tough assignment, but he did have a tough night. And their losses on the defensive line were pretty glaring. So they might not be as good as we thought. In Dallas, I thought they were a little better than we thought. The offense overall looked good. The running game was better than I thought it was going to be. That being said, they're really going to miss Micah Parsons, man. That pass rush was non-existent. Secondary looked really good, but pass rush was absolutely non-existent. And CeeDee Lamb with more drop issues. This guy's an elite receiver, but I saw a stat. There have been, I think, 9 games in the last, I don't know how many years, last few years, where our receivers had multiple drops, and he's got 4 of them. So he's elite receiver, but he's got some drops sometimes. He has 7 for 110, but 2 just really bad drops. The second one hits the dive for a little bit of tough catch, but hit your hand. You gotta make the catch. The first one, that was one of the best balls I've seen Jack ever throw. And that what ended up probably costing them the game because they probably would have went down and scored a touchdown and probably won the game, or at least went to overtime. Chargers beat the Chiefs 27-21 in the Brazil game on Friday. Justin Herbert absolutely balls out. 20 for 34 for 318 yards and 3 touchdowns. He looked fantastic. Chargers looked really, really good. They beat the Chiefs in Brazil in week 1. On to a Sunday slate, Bucs beat the Falcons 23-20. Q had a 44-yard field goal late to tie it, and he misses the Falcons. They cannot win a big game for their lives. I remember the football guys were like, dude, y'all blew a 28 for halftime lead against Tom Brady and the Patriots in the Super Bowl. You could have possibly killed their dynasty right there. And you have a chance and you didn't. You would now be punished by never winning a close game again and blowing every lead you have. Because it's just, they cannot win a close game to save their lives. I understand they couldn't get the run game going much. Tampa is very, very, very tough against the run. Baker Mayfield played very well for the Bucs, responsible for all 3 of the touchdowns. So Bucs win by a field goal. Bengals over the Browns 17-16 was ugly. I picked Cleveland in an upset. Bengals tend to come out slow in week 1, but they hang on and they win. Second half, their offense was non-existent. They did not run the ball very well, but they hang on for the win. Cleveland, they're just cursed. Colts beat the Dolphins 33-8. Daniel Jones absolutely balls out. 22 of 29 for 272 yards. And the touchdown also runs for 2 touchdowns. They ran down Dolphins' throat. Tua has played 3 turnovers in the game. They really struggled. It was 30-0 at one point in the second half. It was 20 at the first half. They had 45 total yards in the first half of Dolphins. This was ugly. Tua looked really, really bad. This might be a long year for Miami. First of all, McDaniel, he's got to go. That guy's a joke. The GM Greer, he's also a joke. And they got to finally get about Tua contract. Holy moly, that contract might be the worst in the NFL. I don't know how Tyreek Hill's going to get traded at the deadline. He doesn't want to be there. It's very, very obvious. Their defense looked really, really bad. Just an embarrassing showing from the Miami Dolphins. Colts run right through them. And they get Denver in week 2. So Colts might be 2-0. Daniel Jones plays well. You never know. The Raiders over the Patriots 20-13. Geno Smith played very well, 24 of 34 for 362 yards and a touchdown. That's a bad loss for the New England Patriots. You're at home against the Raiders, a lot of new moving pieces, rookies, new head coach. And you lose. I get you didn't have your all-pro young corner, Christian Gonzalez. But their secondary can't get torched like that. Like, their secondary just got kicked apart by Geno Smith. Look, Geno Smith's a bum. But he's not Patrick Mahomes. I would say he's an average to above average star. He's turned himself into a decent quarterback. Kudos to him. After all those you're suffering with the Jets and being a backup for a while, but man, they look ugly. I tried to tell Patriots fans, I don't think you guys are going to be 11-6 like you all think. Okay, I don't think so. This schedule is kind of easy, but brand new coaching staff, still a very young team. I still have some concerns, with your roster. I think, it might take a little bit for you guys to gel, and time you gel, you might be into the tough part of your schedule. So I picked them to go 8-9. And there you go. Home loss to the Las Vegas Raiders. Cardinals over the Saints 20-13. Rattler 27-46 for 214. He was about as bad as we all thought he was. People keep trying to pick the Arizona to win the division. I think you guys are crazy. The roster is better. Josh Sweat was a huge addition on my defensive line. We all know what Marvin Harrison can be. But Kyler is beyond mediocre. I just don't see it with this team. I get the division isn't that great. The 49ers are a walking injury bug. The Rams obviously have injury concerns they're on at the quarterback position as well as all of the roster. So I get it. That's not a fantastic division by any means, but I don't think the Arizona is a 10-win team by any means. I know it feels like they probably should be. With what was this year 3 of Jonathan Gannon? You've gotten better each year a little bit. Year 2 for Marvin Harrison. You extend James Conner. You add Josh Sweat to the defensive line. Year 2 with Darius Robinson. Then, all right, this should be the year they make the playoffs, but I just don't see it. I just don't see it. Steelers beat the Jets 30, 34, 32. Aaron Rodgers, 22 of 30 for 244 and 4 touchdowns. I saw this coming from a mile away. I knew he was going to pick them apart. After he scored the first touchdown, I thought, is this guy going to break a single game passing record? Like, he's going to torch them. And the Jets were winning going into the fourth quarter, were in control of the game. Give up a touchdown, then Xavier Gibson fumbles the kickoff. I don't know how that guy made the 53-man roster. He is so bad. He's got 10 career fumbles in 2 seasons plus the first game of his 3rd season. The guy sucks. So many mistakes. From the 15-yard penalty on Quincy Williams that sets up a touchdown. You get Tony Adams miss a tackle on the first drive on 3rd down. Steelers end up scoring a touchdown there. Brandon Stevens looked horrible. He looked even worse than he was last year in Baltimore. He just dropped a weapon pick on the last drive to ice the game. And then going down, kicking a 60-yard field goal with like a minute left to win the game. Just so many dumb mistakes. He missed 2 2-point conversions. First one, he shouldn't have even went for. Terrible calls to go for running back draw. Second one, you had to go for it, try to go by a field goal. You were forced to because you missed the first one. And backfield fade to double coverage. Well, what are we doing? Gary Wilson drops the ball on 4th and 3 on the last drive. Fields probably should have ran it anyway. Just so many mistakes. They should have won that game. That's typical Jets. I'm not even I'm not upset. I mean, it sucks losing a game that you could have won at home. Especially Aaron Rodgers. He's running his mouth about it. But I'm just so used at this point. Whatever. There were some good signs. Fields played well. They ran the ball well. There was an overall did play well. The pass rush looked good, but still unforced errors, more discipline issues. The secondary looked really bad. Always something with this team. Always something. Commanders beat the Giants 21-6. My lord, the Giants look bad. That fearsome pass rush did not look so fearsome. I don't know what Shane Bell was doing. He had Alto Porter and Brian Mertz at some point, like dropping into coverage. I don't know what they were doing. Offensively, their offensive line is still horrible. I don't understand. The offensive line has been a just absolute dumpster fire for a decade, and they refuse to address it. I don't get it with the Giants. Jets aren't much better, but at least they kind of tried, and some of these other teams. But my God. I just don't get it. You had one of the worst offensive lines in football last year. You knew Andrew Thomas, your best lineman, your left tackle, was going to be hurt to start the year. You saw how bad John Michael Schmitz was at guard. You had a revolving door at guard last year. Evan Neal, we all know how bad he is. And you run back the same group. You don't even give a guy like Marcus McBow, who's got some talent, you drafted him this year, a shot at the right tackle spot. Like, it's just a joke. And I don't know how this regime with Dable and Shane and this staff lasts half the year at this rate. Because that was ugly. I get it. The Panthers were a good team, division rival, but man, that looked ugly. Jaguars over the Panthers 26-10. Look, Carolina, they still suck. They did a couple of nice things in the offseason. I like them drafting Ted McMillan. You bring Rigo Dow to help the run game. But that defense still flat out sucks. Jaguars ran it down their throat. 104th yards for Travis Etienne. By the way, they trade Tank Bigsby to the Eagles for 2 later impacts. So that's a small sport that happens. But Bryce Young will look really bad again. Like, people gotta stop thinking like Bryce Young is going to be this great quarterback. For 9 years since the time he's been in the league, he's been atrocious. He had one, maybe 6-game run last year where he looked pretty good. Other than that, for 90% of his career, he looked atrocious. And they still can't stop the run. Even in the worst division in football, I still have a hard time seeing them winning a lot of games. Jaguars cruising that one. Broncos over the Titans 20-12. So Bowman didn't look great. 25-40 for 176 and a touchdown. We also have the Saints becoming the worst team in the league. Dolphins will probably come from that title. It might be the Titans as well. But obviously they were the worst team last year. They had so many bad drops. The outline gave Cam no chance back there. And I'm going to put that game on him. I actually think he did a lot of nice things, which is A lot of bad drops. Calvin Ridley had a couple. Congo had one. Ward, typical rookie stuff, missed a couple throws. The offensive line, which because this is going on for a solid 3 or 4 years now, is just horrid. It was supposed to be better this year. They made a couple signings. You added Dan Moore. I think you added somebody else too. Kevin Zeitler, which should be better, and it's just not. What happens? I think you whiffed on Pierre Skoronsky. He should probably be playing guard. And just they looked like a mess. And Brian Talon goes to the podium and saying oh, I misread the rules. Oh no, I misspoke. Dude, you're a clown. Get out. Okay, that was such a horrible hire. He's gone for the year. I'd be shocked. New GM, new quarterback, disrupt quarterback. I don't think it's a good idea to fire a head coach 1 year into a rookie's tenure. It never works, but they're gonna have a choice. This guy flat out just sucks. They haven't been competitive with this guy. 49ers beat the Seahawks 17-13. Some injuries. George Kittle got hurt. He's gonna miss a few games. Purdy might not play this coming game, but they got past Seattle 17-13. Packers beat the Lions 27-13. On Green Bay side, Jordan Love played his ass off. Josh Jacobs with a touchdown. He looked really good. That pass rush with Micah Parsons looked great. Parsons had a sack towards the end of the game, and he only played not even half the snaps there. They looked really good. The Lions. The offense without Ben Johnson looked considerably different and not in a good way. Jared Goff was not pushing the ball down the field. The explosive plays really weren't there. They're not running the ball very well. Look, Green Bay is a really good team. The defense is good with Parsons. An already solid defense gets way better, but they looked a little bit out of whack. Rams over the Texans 14-9. Stafford 21-29 for 245 and a touchdown. His back looked relatively okay. Puka was hurt briefly, but he ends up coming back in the game. He had 10 from 430. So my phone real quick. All right. Bills beat the Ravens 41-40 on Sunday Night Football, and maybe what couldn't have been the game of the year. Amazing game. Ravens were up 40-25 with 7 minutes left. Bills come one back to score a touchdown. Dark Tony fumbles on the very next drive. They go down and score. They end up winning on a game-winning field goal. Just 60 million at the end of that game. It was an absolutely insane game. Bills win. Josh Allen was amazing. 33 of 46 for 394 yards and 2 touchdowns, showing as the reigning MVP. Henry, crucial fumble to end up losing in the game, but did have a big game. Ran for 169, 2 touchdowns, 7 catches, 143, and a touchdown for Zay Flowers. Ravens. They've blown so many leads. They have blown. I forgot how many leads that they've blown. It's just absolute insanity. And Monday Night Football, Vikings beat the Bears 27-24, come back down 17-6 in the second half. McCarthy, who looked really bad in the first half, turns around in the second half with 3 touchdowns. Caleb struggles, 21-45, 210 and a touchdown. I told you. The guy is not good. But Vikings come back and win 27-24, and they pick up a big win over the Chicago Bears. So they're going to quickly do my playoff predictions. Now, this is what I had going into the season. I didn't get a chance to do it last week. AFC was Bills coming out of the East. And I'm doing it in order of seeding. Chiefs coming out of the West. Ravens coming out of the North. Texans out of the South. Big wild will be the Bengals. I think they'll have just enough from the defense. How good the offense is. The Broncos will, I think, get in again. And the Chargers. In the NFC is the Eagles. I still think they're an elite team. They look not great against the Cowboys, even though they won. The Packers. I think the Micah Parsons condition puts them over the top. The Rams, the Bucs, the 3 wildcards are the Lions. Still think they win enough games to get in. The Commanders, I still think they're a good team. And the Vikings. I think the Super Bowl will be Ravens, Packers, and the Ravens, I think, will be your champions this year. And so I'm going to not do a show tomorrow or Thursday, maybe Friday, maybe not. So my next podcast will be either Friday or Saturday, probably. I do want to do game picks. But I'm going to predict the Thursday Night Football game right now. Commanders, Packers. I'm going to take the Packers. I think this is a team that could easily go to the Super Bowl. I'll take the Packers to win that game. All right. That's all I got for you guys today. Until next time, so long. Have a great day.